There we go. Okay, we are live. Okay, Tesla just did the impossible. Everybody said they would never be able to do a Cybercab. Now it is off a production line. Guys, how big of a deal is this? This is the biggest news. It came a little bit early, right? We were expecting it in April, but now they said the Cybercab is off. Elon just a couple days ago said Cybercab has no pedals or steering wheel, and it will start production in April. But it looks like at least they had the first one. And then he also said it's an all new product and radical redesign of car manufacturing to achieve 5 times higher production rate, which means the output S curve will be very slow in the beginning, but ultimately super high. 5 times production rate in the future, slow at the beginning. Here we go.
Well, it just goes to show that he's a liar. He said April. This isn't April. Never gets credit for things that happen early, of which there are quite a few. Model Y was announced for end of next year. The release was in March. That is not the end of the next year. That is the beginning of the next year. That is 365 days from the day it was announced. So that is, a big deal. Giga Shanghai, they said they'd have the factory built in a year, and they were out the door in a year. Phase 2, a year, got it done in time again. It's easier to remember the misses than the hits. So that's kind of an important thing to bear in mind.
Thank you for joining this live stream. Brian White from Futuraza. He was able to join us today. We got Nick Gibbs from Investing Against the Grain. We got Hans Nelson from Hansi Nelson. It's co-streaming on all of our channels. What do you guys think, Hans and Nick?
It's definitely an exciting first milestone and on track, to really start that production in April. And, all of the things just kind of keep lining up. And so while there are no guarantees, I think this is about as close as we will ever get to a guarantee in Tesla land that this is going to start on time. And once it starts, that is the beginning of an entirely new book for Tesla.
They said things really great. I'm going to sound like an idiot coming after them. Normal. But no, I think the most exciting thing is like, hey, they're on time. Like refreshing, so it's I think I'm just excited I wasn't expecting that. Like that was not on the bingo card for yesterday. I wasn't expecting to see that. I think I'm happy they did that. And there's a lot of reason to be excited. I mean, we're in February. This is for April. And they have the line. The line is up. It's working. Like the first one has been made. I mean, not saying that it's perfect. There's not going to be issues, and you'll learn as you ramp. Obviously, Elon has already said that many times. But like, it's built. Like it's officially built. Like that's crazy.
It is a big deal. It is a big deal because if the ramp is going to be excruciatingly painful, get it started as early as possible. And
Bingo.
the beauty is right now they've got the luxury of time while they're waiting to actually deploy them. This is like when I was down at Starbase and there was a FAA hold while they completed a mishap investigation on the previous launch because it had not gone successfully. And I asked one of the welders, boy, this must be disappointing being in a holding pattern. He said, we're not in a holding pattern. What we're doing is working on all the upgrades that would have come on the next one. Instead, we're doing them on this one. So whatever the delay is, it just means that the next time we get to fly, it's going to be better. This is the same deal. They can afford to make big mistakes on this because the first customer is themselves. All those validation vehicles, all those production intent Cybertrucks we saw, this is going to be those, except monetized. And if they don't work out, who cares? The customer is yourself. Crush them if you gotta.
Crush what? Crush who? The customers?
The cars.
The cars.
Chuck them in the bin.
Crush them if you have to.
I met one of the engineers on the Cybertruck team. He did not tell me that's who he was. He said, "Oh, I'm just an employee." I met him at a supercharger in California. After the first the big delivery day, but before deliveries had begun in earnest, He said, "Oh, I'm just driving this for the weekend because, they want me to check it out." Sure. And I said, "So this one, is this ever going to be sold?" He goes, "This one, no." I go, "Is it going to a museum?" He goes, "No, this one will be crushed eventually because it's still a pre-production model. It's still got some little things in it that'll never be ironed out. That's my job, is to iron them out." So yeah, all the cybercabs being made off the line this month, this quarter, may likely end up in the crusher before the end of this year, if not, eventually.
So we have Cybercab. People just cannot believe it. They'll say it's not possible for them to do this. I'll play Marcus Brownlee, what he said a year and a half ago. But here's another one, though. I mean, this is like, the theme is like Tesla's doing things that people say are not possible. There's now 372 Tesla robotaxis out there, 283 in Bay Area, 89 in Austin. So the number is growing and significantly. I mean, yeah, the whole point there was how much was it, Brian? How many was added in the last 2 days? 42 units in the last
Yeah.
2 days
I,
to reach
I,
372.
He answered everything.
I made a video. I recorded Sunday, and one of the things I mentioned to talk about in the video was just look what's happening with Tesla Roadtaxi. I took a screenshot of that so I could have it.
Yeah.
And I looked like an hour later, and it went from like 309 to like
Right.
329. I was like, damn. So I took another screenshot, and then
Yeah.
I posted. The video got edited, and when I finally went live on Tuesday, I look again. I'm like, damn it! I'm like, it's 340 something now, and now we're
Yeah.
at 370. It's like all right. I think you guys have to take it all for a grain of salt. Like these are point in times, but so it's such a good indication that things are going in the right trajectory. It's slow at first, right? And I think we're all completely fine with slow. Just continue. I don't care if it's slow. Just keep progressing though. Let's keep seeing these vehicles come out. I think it'll build Tesla's confidence, and it already looks like it's becoming exponential. When you see that, like that's just kind of crazy how fast that's happening. But yeah, anyways.
Worth noting that the reason Nick is willing to come on my show is because, as he just said, he's fine with slow.
I just want to add a quick point to actually tie two things that you guys were each talking about together. My read is that, just like at Starbase, what you saw with they're working on the next thing. I think that they've been preparing this production now for a while, and that the production is not necessarily the bottleneck right now. It really is the FSD software. And so one of the reasons that they're able to start production on time is because they're waiting for other milestones to be hit. And once those milestones were hit, then they could schedule a firm date and actually be able to hit that firm date, because it's not subject to the timing delays that come with the thing that you're fighting against when you're working on a bottleneck. And like, this is the problem that I have to solve, and I'm going to have to work on it until I solve it, and I don't know exactly how long that's going to be.
What is the bottleneck that you thought it was?
I think it's the software. I think it's, some sort of FSD robotaxi software milestones.
Yeah, just
I agree with that.
Yeah, like don't pull into a handicap part. Like until this last release, it would still occasionally pull in the handicap parking spot. And now with this last release, it likes tricking me or faking me out. It'll pull in just to back up, not into it. And every time it's like, it seems to, I'm like, is this gonna, no, it's not. So, but like, I think it's just little things like that, not anything like safety critical or big issue. I think it's more so the experiential based, the little things that maybe take for granted that just make a nice ride, a good experience.
For consumer FSD, we definitely need more parking options. Never in a disabled spot should be an option. Always in a disabled spot should be an option. And of course, for most Tesla owners, put me out as far as you can, preferably next to a Tesla, because we're not going to ding each other's doors. We both got Sentry mode running.
Would you guys agree then? Okay, if we, I think we all agree at this point that we're watching something happening, and they've hit a certain milestone in the safety critical or something like that, or like you're saying, Nick, it's just the operational stuff. Now that they're adding 20 in a couple of days, and if we still continue to see this over the time, then it looks like that this projection that Elon said that we're going to try to double the number of robotaxis every month. If you think about that, that it sounds like to me like it's almost like no longer restricted by anything serious. It's now just if I'm gonna roll out something that is ready to go, like even like anything I'm gonna do it in this kind of manner, right? Kind of doubling each month. That is a lot, but it makes sense. You know what I mean? It feels like there's nothing really that's gonna stop them now, except for maybe infrastructure to be able to accommodate those extra vehicles. Does that sound right? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know that I agree with that, and I think that Brian, has a lot of insight into this as well. As soon as you start that line running, you're going to surface problems.
Not. Wait, which line? We're talking robotaxi.
Yes, the robotaxi line.
Okay.
And
wait.
Once you surface the problems,
why do you call it a line? It's not. When I'm not talking
Cybercab.
we're talking robo. I'm talking robotaxi rollout at this point, doubling every month. Robotaxi.
So you mean also including Model Y?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think that they're going to continue to. I think that the majority of the growth of the robotaxi network is going to be comprised of Cybercab. Personally.
Okay.
I agree a majority, but they're still going to put out Model Ys out there. Like
Yeah, that's true.
They'll probably start building them and not putting the steering wheel pedals in there because you still need 4-seaters.
Ooh, that'll be interesting.
You're predicting that they're going to do. Wait, Nick. You're predicting that they're going to do Model Ys without steering wheel and pedals.
I feel like that's obvious, right? Like you can't. Is that
obvious, guys?
Why would you put a
first time I've heard somebody say this to me. Honestly, it makes sense now that you said it. I'm just saying.
It does make sense. There's a little bit of extra engineering that goes in because you've got to redo the airbag for that seat, but that's not that big of a deal. You would want to redo all the crash testing. Although I imagine you could just put whatever is in the left front seat.
You just mirror it.
Right. Well, mirror it the way they already have for right-hand drive markets.
Exactly.
So they've already got, I think and they've got a crash test facility right there. You'd only need to crash 2 or 3 of them at most, but I think 0 is probably the correct number. You could do that.
It's just an extra SKU. Yeah, that would be the only reason not to do it, is not to have to manage the separate inventory. But probably isn't that big of a challenge.
The stats that they've said, right, is 90% of all rides is one person. Another 5% of that is 2 people. And then the rest of the final 5% is more than 2 people, 4 people, 5 people, and others. And so really you would need Model Ys would be just 5%.
But you still need it. Mm-hmm. If I'm traveling with my wife and my new son, I need to be able to have somewhere to put him. I can't leave him in another Cybercab, and even then, if I don't necessarily want him in a front seat as an infant. I want him in the back seat. This.
Yeah. All right. So
the back is pretty big.
That logic,
he'll fit.
That on the back of the Cybercab. Yeah. So, Nick, sorry, Hans,
that's where the tie-down harnesses are.
Yeah. So, in your logic, then that's why you're thinking that it really is tied to the Cybercab production, because that's what they're going to do. 95% of rides will be Cybercabs.
Yeah, and so that the production ramp on that is going to end up being the biggest thing as far as expansion. But they could decide, hey, we actually want to. Well, so the other factor that's going to play into that is how much extra capacity of Model Y do they have? Are they selling Model Y and Model 3 at production capacity or not? If not, then maybe you do go ahead and make those cars and put them in the network at this stage while you're still trying to build up your ramp. There's a lot of different factors that play into that.
Okay, so a couple of questions for you guys. When do you think the very first Cybercab will be offered as a robotaxi? Would that be April? Is it safe to say April? Or now that they've done the first production already today, Does it have
May.
to wait till April anymore?
May.
Really?
What?
Oh, I think
Why?
it could
Why
even be
May?
March.
Wait.
Uh,
Okay.
They're already
Explain your
testing them on the
thinking.
road. Go ahead, Nick.
yeah, I'll just I think April, or I think May, because I think they'll probably start towards the end of April, and then they'll probably take a couple weeks to make sure they do extra testing as they always do, and so I think sometime in May. The reason I hear you, Brian. My only thing is a lot of these vehicles they're testing. At least this is what we saw, like with Germany and Austin, and the first Cybertrucks is they are not like there's always like something wrong with them. They're like still like a production testing type vehicle. So that would be my only thing is that like I've thought that so many times, like just sell it. Like this is so stupid and wasteful to just but I don't know. That's why I would say I think it'll actually start production at the end of April, and then they got to do something with them once they
So
start.
one unique thing, there's 40 Cybertrucks around that number that are being driven around the US right now
Cybercabs.
as Cybercabs being tested just as a vehicle, weather and all that. But 20 of them are in Austin. So why would you do 20 in Austin? There, you're not testing that for, the weather conditions in Alaska, the cold and all that. No, you're testing it probably for autonomy. And so they might already be a supervised driver turned on FSD just to see already, right? That's what those 20 are there. Is that fair to
Yeah, I mean,
assume?
they're not allowed to operate in San Francisco at scale because they don't have the ability to have the safety driver in the same way that all of the existing fleet in San Francisco does today. And so when when Tesla launches this, all the Cybercabs are going to the Austin market. It's the only one that's open to Cybercabs. And so, yeah, that's going to be the place where they focus their energy.
Can one of you, if I have this question, I imagine someone else listening does as well. What's the status with that in California and the driver pulling a driver? Like, what's the limiting factor right now? Is it still like a certain amount of miles they need to hit? Like, what's the latest on that?
Campaign contributions to Gavin Newsom, obviously.
Politics aside, just like what's the truth? What's the metric KPI? Like, what's going on? Like,
I don't know. There are steps that you have to take in California before you can do different things. Waymo is at the point where they are allowed to do it driver without anyone in the car to supervise. But I don't know what milestones have to be hit, whether it's days or miles or years or whatever it is. And when they hit that point, they'll, I assume, be able to at least move them to the passenger seat, if not remove them entirely. I think they'd be able to just go straight to removing them entirely. So I'm not sure what the holdup is, but it is definitely frustrating.
Yeah, I'm just curious. It's like at this point, it's like they're putting so many drivers out there. You just gotta wonder, like, all right, well, what's the milestone we got to hit? Like, what are the checkboxes that they hit?
That's a good point. I mean, Elon, so I think somebody had done this analysis, Brian Wang did a while back, that it takes 3 months. That's why Elon said that whenever we launch a new city, we need 3 months because you need enough miles driven to be able to show that the safety is as safe as a human. And then if an accident does occur after those 3 months, then at least you can point back and say, hey, I've got the data to show that we're already, it's less of an impact than if it happened if you roll it out sooner. But the data here, but you're right. No, it's been way more than 3 months. But the latest data, this is from Rains on X. He crunched numbers because NHTSA just dropped their monthly data for incidents for both Waymo and Tesla, and it looks like that Tesla here the data 208,000, but we're right here right now at 417. And to be as safe as a human, you need to be 700,000. And Rains is expecting that to happen right down here at March 15th, which is a month from now. So this is all robotaxi, both California. So it could be that they're waiting for that data and then they'll remove it. But you're right. Why haven't they started removing it in California? I don't know. But the safety data has shown that in December to January, Tesla is 2 times safer just in that 1 month. So they're at that point.
But so I hear it in like it's good. It's a good data point, I guess, to look at, but it's also not a good data point because there's a lot of noise in the data. Yes, it's safer than a human, right? Guys, guess what? If any of us clip a shopping cart or
Yeah.
back up into we're not
Right.
reporting that to anybody. So no one knows that we did that, because who are we report? We're going to go tell on ourselves to our insurance company?
Right.
No, we're not doing that. So
I'm going to call the paper.
Yeah,
I'm going to call the paper. I'm going to call NHTSA and tell them that I've done
I had a
this,
crash.
but I will ask them to not tell my wife.
Exactly. Right. So it's just it's like I appreciate the data, but it's not accurate.
It's not apples to apples.
Yeah.
How many times have you seen two cars at a stoplight tap each other? You get out, look at it, shrug, all right, and that's it.
Or hey, I'll write you a check. Like, just give me your license. Let's avoid insurance.
Oh, wow.
That happens
Nick's
that
writing
happens all
checks.
the time.
It does.
I
would
Really?
agree with that.
I've
Oh, yeah,
never
I've heard-
written a check ever, Nick. Okay, but okay.
Well, I mean, it wasn't a check, but I'm sure I've heard of it being done.
Yeah. Anyways, but that's all I'm saying. So like, it's
Anyways,
good
very
to,
good
to
question.
see that, but it's
Let's get Hans to
no-
answer
yeah.
your
a lot of
question.
noise.
Why have they not pulled out the safety
Yeah, Hans.
monitors or drivers, actually, supervisors in California, Hans?
Well, yeah, I didn't have any better information or data than anyone else on that. I did want to go back for just a second and provide my opposing take on when MKBHD will actually have to shave his head. I don't think it's going to be until December.
But before you dive into that, can we verbatim say what did he say? Like,
I got it right here.
Round
Yep.
on that.
You
Pull it
want to
up.
listen to him?
Red flag to me is the timeline stuff that, I mean, this is notorious Elon stuff. He gets on stage, he says, we're going to have this vehicle out for $30,000 before 2027. No, they're not. There's just no way that they're actually going to be able to do that. I mean, if they do, let's say they do, I will shave my head on camera, because I'm that confident they won't do it. Like, I want to be optimistic, but there's just too much stacked up against it, because in order to ship this at all with no steering wheel and everything, they have to get all the regulatory approval for the full self-driving and all that, and get all the prices down in spite of inflation, and ship something with scissor doors and all this stuff in the next 2 years. There's just no way.
So this is what he said in October 2024, that it would be delivered to a customer before 2027, which means 2026, for $30,000 or less. There's no way they're going to be able to do that. Omar showed this photo. Yeah, you're going to do that. Elon says, gonna happen. And then Dylan asked and clarified, please, the actual bet wasn't that, you're going to have a production of Cybercab. It's that you wouldn't sell a Cybercab to a customer for $30,000 or less before 2027. Are you saying that specifically is going to happen? Elon said, yes. This guy made fun and said, here, you're going to have to shave your head. Elon said, I mean, he made the bet of his own accord. Mm-hmm. So that's Elon yesterday clarifying and saying, yeah, we're going to sell it to a customer before the end of this year.
The idea that you can't sell it for $30,000 is a little comical, considering Model 3s, which are vastly more complicated, way more atoms and bits and pieces, is what, 36,000, 37, with a good margin in it. This is going to have half of the everything, half the battery size, half the motor size, half the sound system, a third of the glass. The price, check it off. That's done. That's done.
Yeah. And just to add to that too, Brian, because it's such a good point. If I'm selling that to someone, I'm going to get a cut of everything that they make on it. So like, let that eat into it as well.
Yeah. Well, that's why printers are so cheap, unless you buy a printer that has reasonably priced ink, in which case you're actually paying for the printer. And then regulatory approval. You don't know what you're talking about. Great. So the cell phone guy is now an expert on regulatory requirements on autonomy. It's frustrating, but look, he could still be right. And I know we've all had discussions, I'm sure, about, well, does it count if I can't buy it? Well, sure. Is it sold to someone outside the company? Is it sold to a small fleet operator or a large fleet operator? Then yes, it counts. That is a sale outside the company.
It's going to be sold to Uber, obviously.
I mean, it could. It could. I don't know how.
Well, let's talk about that because I'm very, very confused about this. I still haven't figured out what it exactly Elon is saying and what everybody's saying. There was another clip where Elon said maybe 2 years ago, he said that I think we're going to sell the cybercab to consumers, but they're going to be fleet operators. They're going to manage like sheep. They need to manage it. So when he says this, who's he going to sell it to? He's going to sell it to fleet operators. I can see them selling it to Hertz and Uber, whoever. I can see
Why
that
not be
happening.
them? Why does your head
But
go there? Why can't it
so
be
you know
to
what? I can
Hans
say,
wants to
that's what
be
I'm
an
asking you.
entrepreneur?
That's what I'm asking. So are you thinking that Tesla will sell it to a person who buys 5 or 10 or
Yes.
doesn't matter? Everybody, I want one. You want one? Yep.
Yes.
You can buy it. Is that what you think is going to happen?
Herbert, I don't care who buys the apple and what they do with the apple. I'll sell them the apple.
So it's just like I guess like an Uber ride hail where I own the car and I'm putting it into the network whenever I want to. In this case, I don't have to be physically there, but I can own the car.
Yeah.
Individuals. So it doesn't matter really. And I'll
It
charge
is.
it at my home garage and I'll clean it. I'll be the one responsible for cleaning it.
Well, maybe. Maybe you won't. Maybe it'll go into a depot before it goes out into to work, and then before it comes back to its
Yeah.
resting place, it goes back to that depot to get cleaned, and then it comes home. Like you don't know.
So I can
But
see where that makes sense because if you're in a city, then maybe Tesla has their service centers and so forth. But then if in Bryan, where he lives, it's unlikely that Tesla will want to be able to offer cybercabs in those areas. But then Bryan go, hey, you know what? I'll buy a couple of these and I'll service my area and I'll be the one to charge it and clean it because they don't have,
it's
that could be the example, right?
Herbert. It is.
I can see that. Yeah.
Maybe people just don't know this, but the vast majority of trucking is small business owners,
Yep.
husband and wife. They have 1 or 2 trucks. That's the vast majority of how goods are moved in this country. It's no different than that.
Okay.
Well, and then Brian may also be able to buy 3, and maybe he's not servicing his area. Maybe he's just contributing them to the network in Austin or the network in Dallas or wherever. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to come back to his house at the end of the day.
You have to ask the question, why would Tesla do this? As Tesla, if I'm servicing Austin and I've got the service center, I want to own the cybercabs 100% and then a service that make 100% of the profit. Now, if in certain areas like a rural area, not that Brian is in a rural area, okay, I was just trying to say, you kind of said it to me before, like you were the one that said, hey, I don't see Tesla offering cybercabs here anytime soon. That I can see then them going, you know what, go ahead, you buy it, you service it, we'll share 70% or the revenue for you. But I don't know if they would do it in a city, but you guys seem to think doesn't matter, they'll do it. I guess there's also the cash flow, right?
I don't.
Yeah.
What?
I gotta jump. I'll talk
Thanks,
to you guys
bud.
later.
Appreciate you.
Cheers.
Yep.
Good to see
Cheers.
See you, Nick.
I don't know if Tesla would want people joining their network in Austin. In Austin, it would make sense for them to say, "No, we're gonna do Austin." I don't know. I don't know how that would work in terms of monopolies. Maybe that would be viewed as an antitrust issue. But again, for towns like mine, yeah, if I could buy 2 or 3 of them and just have them sitting around ready to go at a moment's notice. And if you want to know the answer to the question, well, where would you park them? Doesn't matter. Anywhere. Park them anywhere. They could be parked on a city street on the other side of town in a free parking zone where it believes it's going to be needed first in the morning. That would be the best place to park it. Aren't you worried about security? I'm covered in cameras, baby. And for that matter, the car could say, boy, this area is getting a little sketchy at this hour. I'm going to move a half mile. Just like that April Fool's video.
Every 2 hours.
Every 2 hours, just move. That April Fool's video Tesla made years ago to avoid parking tickets. It just keeps moving. And you can do that. That's not crazy.
There's a couple of things here that I'm actually interested to continue talking through. On the smaller cities topic, I do think that there's going to need to be some like group effort to supply that market with a minimum number of Teslas to provide coverage in order for Tesla to facilitate an actual ride hail network there. That, you can't just have a 1 or 2 car service unless you're talking about a really tiny town, just because the network experience is terrible if you've got too many people who would want to use it but not enough cars to supply it. And so there's going to be some minimum threshold, I would think. What do you guys think about that?
That's what I was saying. That's why I'm thinking I can see Hertz, I can see big, fleet managers with 10 plus. I don't know if they would go right to individuals. Any one person can buy it. This contributes too much. It's almost like a Turo scenario where, it's just too much complexity, too much variance of what can happen. Somebody goes, you know what? I'll own it, but I'll never clean it. I'll never clean it.
I think SNX could easily be mine in the Austin network. But when it comes to if they need, we need another 500 Model Ys, they could make them tomorrow. And I think they just would. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, I guess the question is, what is the underlying logic behind why they're allowing people to buy them in the first place? Is it based on capital efficiency, or is it based on having an incentive? Like, Tesla's going to have the geographies that it wants to dominate, to your point, and then the supplemental geographies, they just have carrots out there for other people to handle the logistics and all of that for.
That's what I see. That's what I see. Otherwise, I don't understand, because let's say the capital efficiency. We just said that this cabinet will cost $30,000. That's price. Let's say that it makes them to make it. Tesla can do financing. They're talking about that now, right? Loans to break this down into monthly phase. It pays itself off in 6 months, in a year. So why would Tesla need somebody else to pay the $30,000 so that they own it, so that I can, in perpetuity for the next 5 years, share 30% of my profit?
It is a good question, but remember, there's lots of other things that Tesla also wants to spend money on too. And, if we're serious about building terafabs, then you're talking about terabillions of dollars. So there is a thought process there.
That's actually a good point, is keeping some of that. Yeah. Why not reserve that money to build out a solar fab or chips or whatever it may be, while just letting the people like us help them monetize. Yeah, they're not going to make as much, but they get to keep their mountain of cash ready for other deployment. My question to you guys, I had asked this of the engineers when I had a chance to talk with them. I said, look, it can't be driven by a human. Does that mean FSD is included automatically in the price, or would they have to pay for it extra? And that was not their area of expertise. They just built the damn thing. And I think it was Eric who was like, I mean, it doesn't have a wheel, so it would have to be included, right? Well, it's no longer something you can purchase. So I guess now you could say, nope, you still have to pay that $100 a month. Because
and more. It's going to cost more for unsupervised robotaxi. And so you pay, let's say they say it's $500 a month. Okay. Whatever price it is. Let's say it's $500 a month. And then
unless you contribute it to the network at least a minimum number of hours.
And then you bring that down. So let's say you bring it to the network this month, and the first 2 weeks, Tesla gets the $500, and the next 2 weeks that you're doing it, you start making money. Maybe there's something like that.
All possible. You think $500 a month is what unsupervised will cost? Because I see three tiers. I see supervised, unsupervised, and commercial. And I think charging $500 for unsupervised individuals, the kind of people who are driving 10 or 15,000 miles a year, I think that cost is prohibitive. I think that's too steep. Of course, a handful of people would, and those people would say, why are people so broke who aren't me? They just are, man. It's just a reality. But I think for a commercial thing, if you look at, there's all kinds of products out there that are where the consumer version and the commercial version look identical, and have very
Mhm.
different pricing. And the reality is, it's because it's not only worth it, but it is a different product. Back in the day, a landline was, 25, $30 a month, but a commercial landline was like 100. And the reality is, unless you've got a teenager in the house, your commercial line gets a lot more use than your residential line.
And then that's a huge factor too when you are talking about insurance, like to insure personal use versus to insure commercial use is two completely different scenarios. And usage, wear and tear, like all those things are going to be different commercially, and insurance all around. There's going to be a lot of different things. I guess before we go on too far, I do want to go back to one thing I was just thinking about with the incentives for actually allowing us to contribute money besides just capital efficiency. And that is a kind of, if Tesla owns too much of this fleet themselves and they generate too much of the cash themselves, they're not distributing goodwill far enough and wide enough over the long term. Like, I think one of the biggest long-term threats to Tesla is going to be antitrust action, and that competition aspect is a big deal, where if you are working with a lot of other people and there are a lot of more stakeholders in your ecosystem, I think that reduces the amount of concentration risk that Tesla could be facing. And so that might be another reason to do that.
Yeah. Also, the robotaxi price, the revenue that Tesla will make is significant, and we know we've modeled this out how incredible this business is going to be. But if you share that with partners, let them share that part. But guess what? You're going to make all the money on premium, on entertainment, on transactions with purchases when you go to Starbucks or McDonald's, and all sorts of new revenue streams we haven't talked about. Advertising, which I doubt they'll do, but they could. They can make a lot of money in cabin experience. And then that's all Tesla, right? Tesla could sell you the cost for the cleaning, then the charging, whatever you want to do, and then they'll make that money. So it's like he's been talking about the Airbnb experience. And by the way, the founder of Airbnb, Brian Chesky, is one of the board members of Tesla. So he's thought this through years ago of what is the best model for something like this. And I think if you have a business where there is peaks and troughs, and like a very variability in usage, this is where you want to have other people owning the vehicle so that they can put it in a network, pull it out, use it for other uses, those kind of things. Might make more sense.
All right.
Isn't
Any
it
other
crazy
topics?
though? Yeah, I mean, just in general, this is about Tesla just did the impossible. Isn't it crazy that here we are talking about this in detail because it's imminent? It's going to happen sometime the end of this year. We're talking about some nuance about of a higher level robotaxi service that we're going to see the spread. But the whole point was they just did the impossible. Everybody said 2 years ago they're not going to be able to create a cyber cab. Here we are. First production comes out. They're not going to roll out robotaxi. Well, they did it in June, and then of course the bar raises, and they go, "Yeah, sure, they did in June, but there's a supervisor in the car." And then it became, "Oh, there's a supervisor, safety monitor. Oh, but there's only 7 cars right now that are unsupervised. Oh, you know, but we are here. Cybercab is being produced, and we'll start
Do we
to slow
have
numbers, but
any visibility?
Your voice just scared the crap
Oh,
out of
sorry.
me.
Do we have any visibility onto the number of the cars that were just added to the network in Austin? How many of those are actually driverless? I would assume it's all of them, right?
I haven't seen anything.
What do you mean by driverless? As far as we know, it's still 7.
Or yes,
that
no
is
safety monitor, no
7.
Yeah.
It's still 7 unsupervised. According
Okay.
to Tesla Robotaxi, that is the data that we have. But we don't have, if you could look at it, 7 unsupervised, 372 in the fleet. The blue's the Bay Area, 7 unsupervised. We don't know how accurate this is, but that
okay.
is
So
still
yeah, it does. It looks like a lot of that growth is just in the Bay Area, so that's why.
Well, I have a
Mhm.
question for you both. I had a gentleman who doesn't know anything about investing argue with me on X the other day, saying the fact that Tesla has stopped selling it and is only offering you subscriptions to FSD is a bearish sign. And I said, no, Wall Street favors recurring revenue. Can you help me understand why it is that Wall Street favors recurring revenue?
If your stock price is the discounted value of future cash flows, having pretty much perfect visibility into easy to model future cash flows sure helps you increase today's valuation.
I think that's a very good answer. Herbert, did you have any thoughts? Are you?
I'm distracted. I like this guy said he corrected me. Thank you. Joe Gabbia is on the board, not Chesky. Yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But Chesky is, they're both Airbnb though, right?
Airbnb or
Brian
Uber?
Chesky, Airbnb.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
Sorry, what was your question?
Why is recurring revenue better than a lump sum up front? I want my lump sum. Hey, it's JG Wentworth, baby. It's my. I want my cash now.
Well, I mean, in this particular case, it's very odd. The recurring revenue is just gigantically more. So if you sell a car, I think the number is anywhere from 5,000 or 7,000 one-time profit for Tesla today. If you do this robotaxi service, it's monthly revenue, but it's closer to 30,000 per year ongoing each year. So
right, but the question was about selling
FSD.
FSD versus subscribing. I had this incredibly new account with no real followers and no profile picture, definitely a real person and not a bot, tell me that it's very bearish that Tesla no longer sells it. They don't want that lump sum. They'd rather get $100 than 8,000. And of course, that is kind of investing 101 that Wall Street does prefer recurring revenue over lump sums.
I mean, I did a whole thing on this. I think the signs are all there. There's so many of them. I counted 7 major things that Tesla's doing now that show that they are moving the entire company to a subscription business model. The services business of robotaxi is so massive. Why would you sell a car anymore? You just want to service it as a robotaxi. Like I just said to you, the business economics are there. So why would you then sell a one-time life of the car $7,000? Well, it's worth more than that now. You just said it earlier when you said business is a very different than a consumer product. Consumers won't pay for something 7,000, 10,000, 20,000 for FSD. They don't get the value. Although some people have argued that if you could hire a full-time chauffeur that drives you everywhere and you can work, that's what rich people do because they can work. And the time that they do that hour that they're working makes up more for the cost of that chauffeur. That's worth more than 7,000 a one-time fee, right? But that's few people. So, but on the business side, you can make so much money. So why would they charge you just 7,000? That's too tiny. And this $100 is to consumer, but on the business side, they're going to charge way more. Like you said, right? Because commercial is going to be way more than that.
Hey, now that work just looks like chatting with my OpenClaw agent, I already do that while my car drives me around.
Yeah, you're working while you're chatting, you're texting while you're driving.
Yeah,
That's still
totally.
illegal. That's still illegal, regardless.
Hey, you can convert it into voice both ways: voice in and then voice out.
There you go. That's legal.
But you
That's
don't.
legal.
I do actually. Yeah.
There
is some button pressing that I have to do to put voice in and get voice out, but very little.
Yeah. And then very soon, I think we just talked about it, Brian, that Tesla's going to roll out Hey Tesla wake word. So it's coming. There's all voice.
I don't need the wake word really. It's so rare for me to need to do anything. I mean, I guess if I could wake up Grok that way, that would suffice as well, because I don't really use the voice commands anymore. I just use Grok.
Yeah, you have to press your finger on the thing, right?
Yeah, but you leave it on. Well, you can leave.
Oh, okay. I hate leaving it on. I hate it.
I do too. But you can always just say, go away.
I do. I say it all the time. Okay, got it. Get out of here.
Yeah,
Leave.
but not just to me. I mean to Grok.
Yeah. Good one.
Mhm, mhm.
Why
you guys
okay.
miss me.
So we're hitting it out of the park at this point. But yeah, what is a new bar that the Tesla Q is now saying? You only have 7. Come talk to me until you hit what number? What number are they thinking? Or it'll never be.
I'm not seeing numbers. I'm seeing the nonsense that they don't have regulatory approval and never will, even though regulatory approval is the default position, not the not something you have to overcome in the US. And as someone much earlier had said in the chat, great. Launch robotaxi in a different country. There are countries that would love to have this. And if a small country says, please load us up, Tesla can do that. It'd be crazy for one country to say we're going to be the holdout. Even Europe is looking to get all these driverless systems approved. And it's now clear that it's just a matter of time. Whether that's a few months or still a few years, I'm inclined to believe it's more like this year. It's going to change things. And to all the people saying, well, Tesla's done in Europe, I said, do you give no weight to the additional sales that will occur when FSD, even supervised, is available broadly in Europe? Well, but if you could increase your sales by 10 or 20%, that's substantial.
So somebody said that one of the things that they're concerned about is that if Cybercab already started production, even if it's small numbers each month, we should have already today seen things that we would expect, like the wireless charging is one example.
Yeah, I see that a lot. Where's the wireless charging? I saw someone getting mad at Amy for pointing out that this is the future right here. Well, they're just poking it through this little hole. They should have made it more ergonomical. And it's no. That's the backup. That's what they're doing for now, for testing, and also probably for emergency situations. This pad is the future. And well, we need to see them rolled out. Did you see it? Do you know how quickly those will be deployed? And it's, I don't know what the situation is at the lot where the cybercabs are stored, but I'm guessing there's not enough power there. Otherwise, we wouldn't see people plugging them in. So it's the dumbest.
I mean, these guys are testing these cybercabs and they're driving them around physically and they're charging them as they go. So I mean, they're not taking it to the service centers.
No. The storage depot. I mean, the storage depot at the end of the day, wherever there's a lot where they're all
cleaning and yeah.
So that's the thing. We're not seeing it, but somebody's saying, shouldn't we have already seen cleaning and all that? And
why?
I think those things totally exist, but why would they be showing it to us? Like they'll start showing that to us afterwards.
Yeah, I agree. I've never seen Waymo's cleaning operation, but I know they have one.
Yeah, I've never seen it either. So what do you guys think?
What the C in Hans C. Nelson stands for, but I don't think it's C.
What does it stand for? Tell us.
Charles.
Charles Nelson. I'm going to use that as a. I don't know how many people know that it's Hans C. Nelson, but they don't know Charles.
I knew it stood for something.
It's not Charles.
Oh, it's not? What is it?
No, it's Christian.
Oh,
okay.
So
but everybody thinks that you're
famous restaurateur and mouse.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody thinks that you're a horse-driven community. You gotta. All right. So when you guys expect the very first cybercab to be used as a robotaxi? I asked the question earlier. I don't remember you guys giving me the answer.
I said before.
I said, he said, but you think the very first robotaxi, because they need to test out FSD in it. Right. So we would probably expect a month or two where you would see a
We're already
supervised
seeing-
FSD. But they could already be doing that now.
Right.
That's
We're
my
already
point.
seeing them on the road. That is the testing. I think testing in February for first paid rides in May is too long of a time. I don't think that's what we will see.
I think March.
So I think, yeah, March is my guess. What do you think, Hans?
So rephrase, like, say the question over again. I think I
First,
thought you were asking a different question, and I got a little
okay, yeah.
confused.
I was asking, when do you think the very first cybercab will be available for ride hail?
Okay,
You know,
in,
First customer rides for
Mhm.
pay
Ooh.
in
yeah, in a cyber cab. That is a good question. Yeah. I mean, I think it depends on whether or not they're allowed to give a paid ride legally with a vehicle that's not officially production. So I don't know if they can give one before April or not.
know.
And that's
Why
just
would
a
that matter?
regulation. I don't know.
by who? I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they have
I
videos.
yeah, I'm sure they do.
Homologation?
Yeah.
Come on, Brian, you know that.
Homologation?
Homologation?
That it's self-certified in the US.
Oh, gosh. I don't know the knowledge you have. I don't even know the word. I just learned it for the last 2 years. I still don't know what it is, but okay. So what are the steps we should be seeing before we get to that stage where first cybercabs are ready for robotaxi paid? Is there other things we would see out there? Spot.
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely begin to see more cyber cabs rolling off the line in between now and then. So the number of them out there will start increasing. Yeah, you might get to see, some more indication of like people spotting, hey, there's a bunch more of these things congregating in this new place where, that must be one of those places where they're doing those things that they haven't showed us yet.
Do you think that
those type
they'll
of
do?
things.
But they're not going to be able to do safety monitor because there's only room for 2 people. Even if there
Yeah,
is
I
a
don't think so.
steering wheel, there's a
be-
person sitting there going, "Look, I'm supervising it, but hey, you can sit on beside me in the one person rides. Is that possible?"
Sit
Yeah,
on
it's
Grandpa's
possible.
lap. I mean, you could do one person rides, but it would be awkward sitting elbow to elbow with a stranger who will not talk to you. We've all been on that ride home. But
Not a stranger for you, right?
not a stranger says, really, the whole ride we're going to do this? Okay, fine. It's fine. No, it's fine. But I think I think we're already seeing it. We saw late night testing recently where there was a half dozen of them all in a single shot that we could see that they were out running routes at night, perhaps empty. I guess the next step is to see them rolling around empty, like completely empty, just
Good
a bunch.
point.
And then,
Yes.
and then I think,
But
the
would
other
they do
big-
that? Would they do that? Yes, I guess they would do
And
that.
I think
Of
the
course
other
they would
big
do that.
indicator would be would be Model Ys with nobody in it everywhere, all over the entire coverage area. If we see that, we know it's ready on Cybercab.
Okay, so
Very-
that's a good point. So you're saying right now there's 7 unsupervised driving around, nobody in it, taking rides, getting paid. That's happening now. You would want to see how many are there in Austin?
Tons.
30 plus in
Yeah.
Austin. You would want to see
Well,
there's
far more,
89. There's 89 in Austin.
but apparently there are certain routes that are more likely to have no one in the car than others. And I think that once the entire fenced area is
Mhm.
available for unsupervised rides, that yeah, it's time. It's ready. I'd say from there to Cybercab, 2 weeks at most. 2 weeks, definitely by the end of next year.
Well, I mean, the argument would be that this is a totally different form factor. They've been testing FSD on a Model Y for years, shadow mode in all our cars.
Mhm.
They got nailed. But this is a very new form factor. Hans,
It seems like Cybercab, or not Cybercab, it seems like Cybertruck right now is tracking with the other models as far as staying up to date with current builds. And so we already have that as a data point. They've kind of figured out the cross-platform simultaneous rollouts of software. I don't think that that's a huge issue for Cybercab. And you can guarantee if they've solved it for Cybertruck. They've double solved it for Cybercab. Like, this is obviously the big thing that they have to do. There's no way that they're going to fumble the ball on that.
So I asked the engineers about it. I asked the engineers, how long does it take to train Cybercab to run on these cameras? And he said, no time at all. I said, well, right, but Cybertruck proves that's nonsense. And he said, oh, no, Cybertruck's a different beast. Cybertruck had variable steering for the first time. It had rear wheel steering for the first time. It didn't know where its hips were in space. Not his words. I'm paraphrasing to add a little bit of poetry. But this is, at the end of the day, just a car. It drives like just a car. All of the variables are understood. And I said, does that mean it could port to another manufacturer with relative ease? And he said, yes.
Yeah, and not only that, but think about when we added the Cybertruck, it was also the biggest vehicle that Tesla had. And so there's a difference when you're going up in size versus going down in size. Like, you're actually smaller in space than you think you are if you're in a Model 3 or a Model Y. And so your possibility of accidentally bumping into things is actually even lower. And so it's easier to go that direction.
Cybertruck early on would have a problem clipping curbs because it's a wide monster.
All right. So Cybercab rolls out and it starts being used as unsupervised in Robotaxi in Austin. That's first place, so is most likely. We know that, I don't know what the number is, Hans, you tell me, but is it 500? And we know that Waymo, New Street Research showed that Waymo only does 500 in each city because anything more than that, they start losing so much money because it's not base level, full utilization of the car. 500 is a right number. Would Tesla then introduce deliveries of goods? Because they talk about that's a whole business. Few people are here and talking about, but Tesla has shared that we're going to use our Cybercabs for deliveries of products. That's why the back is separated from the front. That's why it's so cavernous back there. They designed it for delivery too. Or is this delivery thing something that's like 2, 3, 4 years away? Or do you think that they might actually introduce it in order to make use of the Cybercab during the night times and really, really take advantage of the unit economics?
I'm curious to hear Brian's thoughts on this, actually. I don't know.
Oh, no. Okay. So I do have some thoughts on it. In terms of deliveries, the only real obstacle is you need to make sure the customer knows when we arrive, get your butt out here and pick up your item. Very easy, especially in a Model Y. You just pop the hatch, they grab it, you close the hatch. Done. Move on to go back and get another delivery. You could do that. It could be a more affordable alternative to Uber Eats. It's not an ideal alternative, but considering you have clipped out the whole aspect of having a driver, the financials can work. In terms of doing other deliveries like overnight, point-to-point stuff, I'm just not sure it's cost effective because there's no network in place that already does that. You'd have to kind of build the network. It's not like when I worked at the bank, we used Pony Express. The company called Pony Express would come to every branch, pick up our secure interoffice mail, deliver it downtown, and then it would come back in the morning. But a human needs to be at each end of that, and there are no humans at the branch. It'd be someone who has a key to a specific lockbox to get the mail. So overnight, I'm not sure the system exists yet enough for it to be supported.
Yeah, I think that the first order of business is obviously get the Robotaxi network working 100% and scaling 100%. And then once you start running into utilization problems and stuff down the road, then you start looking at, okay, what are the other things that we can do to solve that problem? I don't foresee delivery of any form or fashion being something in the roadmap anytime in the next, definitely not the next 12 months, probably even longer than that.
Okay, I agree with you there.
I would agree. Yeah.
So then, so back to the 500 cars though. So the reason why Waymo can't do 500, more than 500, is that 500 is enough for, let's say in Austin, to cover the base drives during the day. But if you need it for the peaks of the morning rush hour, the evening rush hour, at concert, those kind of things, if they added more, let's say another 500 cars, those would be so unprofitable because they'd only work for those peaks. Okay, I got that. What about Robotaxi though? Robotaxi does not have that issues as much in terms of the unit economics, but they could put another 500. But what? But then does that mean that they're stuck at 1,000 per city, or do you think that they can really do 5,000 in Austin? What would those 4,500 cars do? I know that if they lower the price, then more they feel that people will buy more. So it's not just comparing against ride hail. Now you're competing with regular personal travel. I get that. So I think that there's that ability to do that. But do you think that that's because if we're talking about the numbers we're talking about in terms of how many cyber cabs, are you thinking that they're going to do 5,000 per city, or they're going to do 1,000 per city, and they're going to have like 30 cities, 40 cities, 50 cities?
Well, remember, you've got multiple levers you can pull here. You know, when we're talking about having 10,000, whatever Uber's size of a fleet in Austin is, if it's 4,000, we'll just use that for a number. That is at Uber's current price. If Uber could drop its price in half, they would have double the demand, or more than that. It can be elastic. And so, you know, if you have to size your fleet to that demand, then great, you size your fleet for max demand, and then you actually can offer lower price rides in the other times of the day to smooth out your utilization and increase your...
Yeah, because Waymo cannot lower it below $4 or $5 per mile. That's their problem. If they could, then they could increase volume and they can do more than 500, but they can't.
I'd still like to know how much money they're losing at this outrageous high level that they're at. Hey, what I'd really like to do is, it would be fun. I'd like a light show. How many car light shows should we order? It's already dark. It's after hours. There's surplus capacity. Should we do a 20 cab light show? I can order it right now. It'll be here in, it says 14 minutes. Do you want to order a light show? Ridiculous, silly. I don't think they'll do it, but they could.
I think Elon should do it just for the lulz.
Just for the fun.
Why not?
All right, guys. Well, we covered a lot of ground today, but we covered all the impossible things that Tesla's doing. I still can't believe we're talking about this kind of stuff now. This is it. It's the next stage of conversation is what's going to happen in the next 6 months, a year from now. It's no longer, can they make cybercabs? Can they roll out robotaxis? It's now, what numbers will they have by the end of the year? Thank you both. Appreciate you. Bye, Hans. See you later, Brian. Thank you for joining us this week. Bye, all.